signed up for a 500-hour yoga teacher training, and I have no intention of ever becoming a yoga teacher. Last week on Eve Embodied, we talked about the gunas and intuition and being able to quiet the mind chatter enough to tap into your intuition. This week, I'm going to take you on a field trip to one of my favorite places to practice my embodiment. Here's a clip. Is there a better place to talk about embodiment than in a sauna? I'm doing contrast therapy on a Sunday, and I usually come with my friend, and it makes the time go by so much faster, and it makes it all so much less painful. Unfortunately, she wasn't feeling well today, so I'm here by myself, which I think is really a test in embodiment. It's hard to sit in the sauna alone. My phone isn't here with me now, but it is almost overheating, so it doesn't last long and cannot distract me from the pain and discomfort when I'm in the cold plunge for sure, and definitely here in the sauna. And I say pain and discomfort, but I do actually really enjoy it, and it does make a huge difference in how my body feels. I was having some soreness this morning, and so I definitely didn't want to miss my session because I know that will help immensely. I really love the cold plunge. I don't mind the sauna, but I really enjoy how I feel after a few minutes in that really cold water, even though today it was very painful getting in. So in the sauna, in the cold plunge, with no distractions, no company, I really am able to tune into the things that I'm feeling in my body. I was having some soreness and like a weird pain in one of my arms, and so as I was in the cold plunge, I was really focusing to make sure that the places where I was feeling pain or maybe inflammation were under the water, and being conscious of what I was feeling with the cold. When the water's really cold, sometimes it's like burns a little bit or gives you like the pins and needles feelings. And I had a bit of that today, so my stints in the water were not as long as they sometimes are. Um, so it's really just a practice in focusing on the sensations and what you're feeling in your body, and listening to when you need to get out of the sauna or out of the cold plunge. Um, I mean, I do like to time it, but at the same time, I am listening to my body to say, like, okay, now I'm too hot, or I've been in the cold water long enough and I can move on or go back and forth, or it's time to be done. The sessions are about an hour long. Like, obviously, you have to change and do all of that. And sometimes I go the whole time, and sometimes I go 30 minutes between the two, and I'm done. So it's really, really a practice in listening to your body, tuning in, doing what feels right and what feels good. And I think the fact that like the sauna and the cold plunge are, temperature, physical extremes really helps turn on that switch of like, okay, I'm listening because I'm feeling things. These are not things I feel every day. What's happening? What does this mean? But you know that you're in a safe space unless you have a medical condition, you're in a safe space to feel the discomfort without it being necessarily dangerous. Um, I do like to think a little bit about the difference between discomfort and pain. I think a lot of times we describe things as painful, and it's really just discomfort. And we can survive it, and we can work our way through it. Do I think everybody should be uncomfortable and in pain all the time? No. But things happen, and we are. And as someone who's had, a 30-year long autoimmune medical condition, there's a lot of things in my life that are uncomfortable or painful. And knowing the difference, I think, has helped me manage that. If I assessed everything as discomfort as pain, I don't know, I feel like my outlook would be a lot more negative than being like, okay, this is just discomfort. This will pass. I can get through this. So it's my mind and body working together to help me not just survive, but also, be at peace with the different stages of what our body goes through day to day. Like, we don't always feel our best. We aren't always going to feel 100%. So I think practices like this, the contrast therapy, and, challenging workouts from time to time are a really good way to get into our bodies and remind ourselves like we can do uncomfortable things. We don't have to do them every day. But a lot of times on the other side, you do feel better after the soreness fades, or, after the immediate discomfort of being in the cold water fades. There's really something special there. So I enjoy that practice. There's other embodiment practices that I enjoy and that I do feel like I'm good at. And I think this one is a great example of, your mind and your body working together and really listening to what your mind has to say. And so I'm glad I was able to connect those dots even just for myself this week, to remind myself like, oh, this is an embodiment practice I do and have been doing for over a year, and I'm good at it. So stick around for more clips from my sauna sesh, and we'll see you next week. I hope you enjoy these silly clips of me in this sauna. I did speed it up so you get to enjoy me kicking my feet and dancing at the speed of light. But during this time, I spend minutes where I'm literally counting down the seconds. There's a clock on the wall and I'm watching it. I'll look away for a little bit and I'll count and I'll look back, and sometimes it feels like time is not moving. Sometimes I'll sort of zone out and focus on something else, and time will move more quickly. And other moments I do really tune into my body, and if you zoom in, you'll see the drips of sweat going down my neck and along the sides of my face. And so sometimes I just meditate on those and focus on the trail of sweat that moves down my body as I'm sitting here. But basically, all of this is to remind myself and you that you're probably already doing things all the time that force you to get into your embodiment practice. And so I encourage you to just tune in and pay attention, and when all else fails, do a body scan. You might surprise yourself how often you're in your body.